Hello, gamers, and welcome. I am so happy today to be able to talk with Kristy. She is a streamer, YouTuber, content creator for Final Fantasy XIV, and is an absolutely beautiful person. Kristy, thank you so much for joining me. Let's introduce you to the group.
Thank you for having me. Hi, I'm WhatTheKristy. I do mostly RPG Final Fantasy games and Hogwarts Legacy and all sorts of other fun games. And my community loves to terrify me. So we do a lot of random jump scare games too.
That's evil.
Oh, you know what? I love them though.
Oh my God. So, thank you so much for joining me. This is the podcast where we talk about the positive impact video games have had on our lives and the good they can do in the world. So, without any further ado, we can pull up the first question. So, this is a nice one. Can you tell us about your earliest memories of playing video games?
So I'm stuck between two because I'm not sure which one came first. There is Crash Bandicoot.
Mm,
Um, and Punky Skunk, but nobody remembers Punky Skunk.
I've never heard of it.
It was a PlayStation 1 game, and this is why I think Punky Skunk was first because nobody remembers it, but I remember it clear. Punky Skunk was a skunk that I don't even remember the story because I was really young. But like his like attack would be like he would like whoop his butt to the side and it would be like, the smoke, like the
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the skunk smoke and like the creatures would like "Wah," and like pass out from like the smell. And I will never forget that. I loved it. And ironically enough, I'm actually wearing a shirt with like a mushroom on it and he like would like hop on mushrooms to get around. So ironic enough that I happen to be wearing a shirt talking about Punky Skunk, but that was my first memory I have, and I remember being, like, really little. I have 2 older sisters, and sitting on the floor, like, give me my turn," and my sister finally handed it to me, and I remember, like, jumping on the mushrooms and playing that game with my sisters. Um, that's the first thing I remember, and it was a PlayStation 1 game with the black back disc and everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Oh, how have video games influenced your personal interests and hobbies?
Um, so I played video games when I was younger. When I got a little bit older, I hadn't played for a long time. I haven't been to the point that I'm at now with video games until this point in my life, which is crazy. Um, but once I started like really investing into video games, I got into anime and manga and I mean, I already read. I love reading, but like just all the different things that video games alone like unlocked, which is so funny
Mhm.
because they really don't connect like in retrospect, but they do. So like my interest instead of going out and like going to like do things, I prefer to like be in comfy clothes, sitting at my computer and just like playing a game. And I met so many people just from playing Final Fantasy 14 alone. So just it's changed so much in that aspect. Also, I never collected things, and now I collect pops and, like, fake, like, swords, so
You're making it sound like video games are like the gateway drug to all these other things, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
In a good way.
In a good way. Awesome. Have you learned any valuable life lessons from playing video games? And if so, can you share an example?
Um, I mean, honestly, as funny as it sounds, more so in the in the realm of, like, be kind to others. And I know it
Mhm.
sounds funny, but, like, just so Final Fantasy 14, right? Like that's like my bread and butter at this point in my life and in streaming. And as you play through and like I'm helping other people get to where I am. And keep in mind, I'm not far in. I just hit Stormblood. And then I've got people in my free company that are like finished like multiple times at this point.
Mhm.
So going through the game and like helping other people you see in chat like different types of communication, right? Some people being like really kind, let me help you, let me give you tips, and then people that are like healers that are just like, no, stay dead, I'm not helping you, which it's crazy, and it literally happened to me yesterday, so it's a thing.
Really?
But like
Aw.
going through that, it really shows like how important it is to be caring and like help other people because When I started playing, if I did not meet the people I met to help me through, I wouldn't have wanted to play anymore, right? And I
Mhm.
wouldn't have experienced the things that I've experienced. So, just being kind is such a big thing, and it's so funny that you learn that in a video game. I mean, clearly, I'm a nice person in general. I care very much, but,
Mhm.
just something as small as that, I feel like people will pick up on, and it's very important, and plus the stories in games also, like, are constantly teaching you, to do the right thing and be a good person, and you know what I mean? Just I don't know, I feel like that's, like, the biggest thing, and every game has, like, their own hidden story underneath their main story. So, I think that the main thing to take away from games is just, like, be kind, be supportive, and be loving.
No, that's perfect, and especially for Final Fantasy, like, the Final Fantasy overarching theme of all the games is, like, the power of friendship, so
Yep,
there's
absolutely.
absolutely that. That makes it a Final Fantasy game, and I think it's not mentioned enough, but every single person you meet inside an MMO is an actual human being, with human being thoughts and feelings and obligations and pains and responsibilities. And I think sometimes we really need to see other players as people as opposed to just like hundreds of thousands of NPCs running around the world, for
Yeah, and
sure.
there's so many. There's so many.
Yeah. How have video games impacted your social life and relationships?
I've made a lot of friends. A lot. I've always been so I had friends, like close friends growing up, but I would never like had like a large group of friends. I always was more so like a keep to myself kind of person. I worked in a lot of different industries, so I've been around a lot of people, but like friend wise, I kept it pretty small. But now like with gaming, especially with an MMO, you meet so many people, and there are so many people that I can call my friend, and people that I have gotten really close to. So just having like that connection through a game, it's insane. I mean, we work our jobs, right? We come home, we clean our house, we cook dinner, and we do all the obligations that we have to do. And then we hop into another world that takes us out of all of the stress and craziness of like our real life.
Mhm.
And you connect with people on another level, on another realm, quite literally. And the friendships that you make going through these stories where we all feel the same heart tugging emotions, and you know what I mean? It's a whole other level of friendship. I mean, playing 16, just talking to people about playing 16, we all know the pain. I'm not spoiling it. We all know the pain of that game in so many different spots, and we can all
Mhm.
connect on that. And that alone creates such a bond. And I think that that's a big thing across all video games is that storyline, and how strong you can make friendships just from that connection.
Mhm. Do you think that's something that has become more socially acceptable after COVID? Like, there's kind of been a shift where it's really come into being the last 5 years or so. How important online relationships are and how sustaining they are through circumstances, even when we can't meet in person.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I'm gonna make myself sound old. Growing up when I was little, internet wasn't really a thing, right?
Mhm.
So like as I got older, there was stuff like the chat roulette stuff where we'd make friends online, or I can't remember what the other one was. There's another one, stick cam or something like that, where you would make friends online. Um, and so like that stuff was always there, but it was always like weird, right? So I feel like yeah, probably within like the past like 5 years or so, it's become more like not weird, whereas like when we were younger, it was like don't go in a chat room, you don't know who's in
Mhm.
there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
now it's more
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I made a friend in Eorzea." They're like, "What?" Like now it's you know what I mean?
It's
Like, but so
online. Oh, okay.
I made a friend in Limsa. Like, what? Like it's but it
Depends on the server.
True that.
Awesome. Have you ever used skills or strategies learned from video games in real life situations?
Oh gosh. I am not a prepared person. Let me just say that much. I'm not. I procrastinate and, I don't prepare, but at the same time, I over prepare. But I've learned to over prepare in the sense of video games, and that's because I literally my slogan, my line, my whole thing of me is I am WhatTheKristy, the gamer who can't game. And let me tell you how many times that I've gone to the end boss with 0 potions to get myself out of So I've learned to buy a million and one potions, but I've also been to the point where like I've completely forgot. So in real life now, like I try to like over prepare because I've literally watched myself die like 70 times. I'm looking at you, Hogwarts Legacy boss. I'm looking at you.
I was gonna say, I don't know what that's like. I hoard every single potion waiting for an emergency, and it
I
never
use them.
comes.
I use them constantly, and then I get to go get more.
Oh, man. Okay. How do you think video games have evolved over time, and how has that impacted your experience with them?
Um, so with me being new to the Final Fantasy realm, I can actually speak in like a different aspect. When I was younger and I had played like Punky Skunk, right? Like I was really young, graphics were different. But a lot of people that started playing Final Fantasy games, they started with the original like bit looking
Mhm.
games, right? Um, that drove me nuts. I never played Mario when it looked like that either, because whenever I saw the little pixels, I couldn't figure out what was the game, like, what was, like, the road and what was a tree and what was, like I couldn't
Oh.
figure that out. So, like, my experience with video games started with things actually being more, like, clear and not, like, bit,
Mm.
which is, like, crazy. So, because of, like, the shift in graphics and the shift in all that stuff, I've been able to get more into games, and it also changes, um like, for me, it
Mhm.
changes how much I can be, like, invested in the game. So, like, as much as I love Final Fantasy, eventually I will go back and play, all the originals, probably, like, on the remake pixels,
Mhm.
just so that's the way it's a little bit, clearer for me. But having everything looks so real and the stories being like more accessible in that aspect, it definitely causes more connection with the games and the storylines because like I said, I couldn't figure out what was going on before. So there's that. Plus, don't even get me started on the voice acting today because the voice acting now is just a whole other level, whereas before you had to read it. And as much as I love reading, it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing,
Not the
no.
same thing.
Do you have, like, a to-do list? Like, has your community told you, "Oh, well, if you're going back and playing Final Fantasy games, you have to play this one, and you have to play this one," and
So, funny story, my half of my community does not like Final Fantasy, and the other half
Oh.
loves Final Fantasy. So, I am battling with my own community right now. I have a list from one half that wants me to play, like, all these other games, and then one half that's like, "Yeah, do all the Final Fantasy games," because when I started out with Hogwarts Legacy and Elden Ring and just kind of, like, going into, like, different
Mhm.
games. In fact, Final Fantasy 16 was still a, "I don't know, maybe we'll see." And then I played the demo off stream to see if I would like it, and I cried and screamed and wanted to flip a table just from the demo, and I was like, "Okay, we're doing it." And then it it was over from there. We turned into Final Fantasy
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was on the fence about the game until I played the demo. I think I played the demo 3 days before the game was set to release.
That sounds about right.
I played the demo, cried for a little bit, and then purchased the game, like, literally right away. Like, I
I,
was
um, I knew that there was because I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy at the time, so nobody come for me. Nobody come for me. I didn't know if they were, like, in order or how it works, but that's most people's question, right, with Final Fantasy. "Oh, there's
Mhm.
16, so I've gotta play 15 other before." That's a pretty common thing. So, I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy. I vaguely, like, had an idea picture in my mind of what, like, the jumpings look like because I remember seeing something a long time ago. So, I had went and I purchased Final Fantasy 15. I actually have it somewhere around me, somewhere up here in the gaming realm, and I had bought it for, like, $3 at GameStop used, just so I can see if I would like a Final Fantasy game at all. So that's why I don't call it my first game because I only played it for about 15 minutes to see if I would like the mechanics of it. Because my husband was like, "Oh, Final Fantasy is turn-based, you'll hate it." Because I don't like turn-based because I'm
Right.
not a preparer, right? So,
Mhm.
like, you gotta prepare for, like, get your attack. Do I block or do I hit or what? That's that kind of mentality I don't do well. So I played a little bit of 15. I still haven't actually played it. I've only like done a little bit. But I do like 15 so far. But and then 16 was about to come out, and I had another streamer friend of mine that was streaming the demo, and he was like, "You're gonna love this. Like, have you done the demo yet?" And I was like, "No." So I did the demo when he was streaming the demo, I think. Yeah, I think he was streaming the demo when I was doing it. And I was like messaging in his chat where I was and like how I was freaking out and stuff. So it progressed from there. But my starting point with Final Fantasy was not normal. Was not normal. But it was literally only a couple days before the release. But in my mind, I think at the time I was thinking it was the rebirth because I didn't know anything about Final
Right.
Fantasy. So in my mind, I'm like, this one's gonna blow up. Like this is gonna be big. I was like, this is gonna be another Hogwarts Legacy thing, not knowing the difference between 16 and 7. Granted, I'm super glad I did 16 and didn't wait for
Mhm.
Rebirth because 16, I literally have a Clive tattoo now.
Oh, wow.
A community member literally just paid for me to get a Clive tattoo. I got it 2 weeks. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, if you can show it.
I can show it.
Oh my god, that is amazing. Oh,
So a
wow.
community member purchased this for me, one of my mods, and I got it literally a week ago, and that's how much I love 16.
So
And
you
if
can
I
say
w
it's made a bit of an impact on your life, hey?
so much. So plus I'm like I love Ben Starr as a voice actor.
Mhm.
Just amazing. They all did an amazing job, actually. I can't even just pinpoint one, but I definitely loved Clive as a character.
Yeah, tied in with Soken's music, like, the story is
Mm.
just so powerful. Yeah.
I literally listen to the soundtrack in my car while I'm driving.
Okay, that might make driving a little intense, but
It's fun. It's also my alarm. I
right?
have, Find the Flame is my, "You're late for work" alarm. If it
That's
goes
really
off
cool.
if it goes off, I know I'm late.
Okay. Have you ever faced any negative stereotypes or criticism for being a video game enthusiast?
Absolutely, especially at work
Oh.
and at home, my family, like
Mhm.
my family, like my parents and my sisters. I when I started my new job, my thing was streaming is like a part-time job, but I hate calling it a job because I don't feel like it's like a job, right? But I
Mhm.
also am very big on like keeping my word. So when I started my job, my new like full-time job, I said I have to be off work at this time no matter what on these days because, I stream those days. Um and my boss was very understanding and not a problem. My coworkers on the other hand, um some of them are not too fond of video games and understanding why I'm so, invested. So I definitely get a little backlash there, as well as, like, with my family. Like, "You spend so many hours playing video games. You're a 30-year-old adult. Like, what are you doing with your life?" I'm like, "Well, this is what I like to do. This is what I would like to do over the rest of my life. Like, I would
Mhm.
love to be able to, like and, like, really put my foot in and, like, enjoy, like, time with the community and playing games and experiencing the stuff with other people. Like, this is my it might be new for me and, which is crazy, but, like, it is, like, my love and my passion is to, like, really just be able to do this, and having that connection with people is, like, huge for me too. So, yeah, I've definitely had backlash from people, especially being in a grown adult in this realm. But honestly, I just let it roll off my back. Just let it roll off my back because at the end of the day, listen, if this makes me happy, it doesn't affect you in any negative light. I don't need to let it hurt me. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
my parents they'll like just, make snide comments and then drop it. When it comes to like people around me at work and stuff, I just kind of ignore it. That's the biggest thing because if you give love back, then eventually it'll go away. So that's what I
Yeah.
do. I just love back.
Yeah, no, and that's such positive advice too. Absolutely. Um, my mom is kind of at the high end of that. She doesn't understand what I do, but occasionally she'll see something and she's like, "Hey, YouTube, people can make a lot of money on that, right?" And she kind of perks up a little bit for a while, but
I've said
yeah.
it to my dad before too. I'm like, eventually it could be like a full-time job. And my dad's like, I don't get it, but whatever works for you.
Yeah. Okay. How do you balance your time between playing video games and other responsibilities?
I don't. I don't. Even when like I'm sick, I'm sitting at my computer playing Final Fantasy 14. Spent 11 hours on it the other day and I was like sick, dying fever. Like I just had like a gallon of water next to me and like some like crackers and I still sat here. I don't. I actually haven't made it to the gym in like weeks because I was so focused on getting my botanist to level 25. So just grinding hours. I don't balance, which is a problem that I definitely have. I've lately been working on like, okay, at this time I need to log off and like get good sleep and like trying to like work on like meal prepping so that way I have more time. But no, I don't. I definitely don't balance. It's a struggle. At first, I only played on stream so that way it kept me
Mhm.
balanced, but n- you can't just play 14 on stream. It's not possible. It's not.
Have you ever had the experience of falling asleep in a duty finder yet, or no? Okay.
I
As
have
someone
been
who
I have been kicked like right when I got into one though, like the server
Oh,
dropped
no.
and I'm a tank. Sorry, I'll come back. You've
No, just
fallen
speaking
asleep?
yeah, just speaking of playing when you're sick, like, yeah, you just do it because it's comfy, it's nostalgic, listening to the music is just so soothing,
Yeah.
and then the next thing you know, it's like you've been running into the wall for the last 30 seconds because your eyes blinked a little too long, and it'll happen, it'll happen. That day, I
I
hope you
believe
send me a
it.
message and let me know.
I
It
believe it. I
happened.
do. A couple nights ago, I got, like, really tired and, like, I looked that was the night I looked and I was like, "I've been playing for 11 hours and I haven't moved except to get water, and I don't know how that happened." But it did, and it was, like, 4 in the morning. Like, What? Where did the time go?"
So are
Yeah.
you trying to get, to the end before Dawn Trail? Like, is that kind of your ultimate goal? Yeah.
I'm hoping. I don't know if I'm gonna make it though. I get sidetracked too easily, and I
Mm,
just unlocked Reaper on top of it. So I'm trying to like level up my Dark Knight and Reaper at the same time. And so that's hard. And so I kind of like paused on MSQ to work on other things. And plus like everyone wants to grind for mounts and we've got new people starting.
mhm.
So yeah. I hope that I finish before Dawn Trail, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Okay, are you excited for the release, or is it just
Yes.
kind of above you yet?
No,
No,
I'm
excited?
excited. I'm so
Awesome.
excited because not only, like, is there more to look forward to, but they've
Mhm,
got, like, graphic updates and, like, so much
mhm.
other things that are coming with it that, like, you'll get some of that rolling down also before you get to Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
There are some things you'll get rolling down, so absolutely. Plus, on top of all of that, it brings in so many new players. I can't tell you
Mhm.
how many people have, like, hopped on my stream and they're like, "Oh, I saw the trailer for Dawn Trail. You're playing 14?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come on in. You can join the free company. You'll get buffs. We'll all help you. Like, come on." And so, like, yeah, just the amount of people that are hopping on board. I love it. I love it.
That is beautiful. Can you share a favorite video game memory or experience that has had a lasting impact on you?
Well, it is very recent, but it was definitely 16.
Mhm.
Definitely Final Fantasy 6, hence the tattoo. So that's a lasting impact on me forever and ever, is
Yeah.
Clive on my arm. But, that was the first so it is officially my favorite game of all time, and it would take so much for something to top it. As much as I love 14, I don't think anything will ever top Final Fantasy 16 for me, ever. The depth of that story. I've n I I don't wanna spoil it for anybody, so I'll be like, you know, I'll tap around it. But,
Mhm.
it had so much. I even, like, reading books, and I am a big reader. Um, the story in 16 pulled on me so much, and I will never, never forget. So my husband started streaming, a few months ago, and I will never forget, we were in our old apartment, and our bedroom was where the streaming setup was. And he took my PlayStation out of the streaming room and put it in the living room so I can finish the game. And, the end happened. I'm gonna leave it that like that. The end happened, and I froze. Controller on my lap, and I sat there for, like, 3 minutes, like, 3 to 5 full minutes, just
Mhm.
frozen, crying profusely, bad. And I got up, I opened the bedroom door, and I looked at my husband. He's on stream, mind you, and he looks at me and he goes, "What's wrong?" And I was like, and I said it, which I'm not gonna say because I don't wanna spoil it for anybody. And he goes, "Hold on, guys." I'm like,
Aw.
Never, never have I felt so many emotions from a story ever. I don't think that what we think happened. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
that. I don't think so. I almost got confirmation from Ben Starr himself. Um, he tipsed
Try to
around it,
pull it out of him, yeah.
kind of. It was from a cameo actually that I got from him.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
but yes, that is my favorite memory of all time that definitely will stick with me forever, is just the full amount of emotion from that game and the way it ended, and my, like, "This can't be it, this can't be over, there has to be more," and just, like, the full immersion of it. Um, it's a memory I'll never forget, ever.
Awesome. Yeah, me neither, but that was the first time I finished a game streaming. And so I was live when I finished the game, and there
Oh my
just
gosh.
what happened afterwards is recorded for posterity, but, yeah.
I didn't end up finishing it on stream. My community that I had at the time, I mean, a lot of them are still with me,
Mhm.
but they were not interested in it at all. The first 2 streams I played it were about 9 to 10 hours long because I didn't wanna put the game down. Um, but, like, people, like, nobody stayed, nobody was interested, and so I reached a point where I'm like, "Nobody wants to watch it? Fine, I'll play it."
Exactly.
Oh, we'll play something else on stream, fine with me, that's cool. But, now like, my community has grown to a whole other level where when it comes on PC, it's getting fully streamed all the way through on PC. And if y'all don't wanna hang out, love you guys so much, and we will do something else on another day. But Final Fantasy 16 will be redone on PC
There
on
you go.
stream. And I still
Awesome.
cry. I still cry every time I see someone play it. I watched someone finish it last night, and I was crying with her.
Aw. You mentioned being an avid reader. Do you have a genre or a favorite author you'd like to shout out, or
Um, I honestly, a lot of fantasy stuff. I can't even remember her name. Victoria Aveyard, I think is her name.
Okay.
There's been a new series. I'm like looking at it right now because I'm trying to see it from far away. There's a new series that I found, Red Queen, and it is so good. It is, it's, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like from like another, it's like a like dystopia, basically, like, after everything
Okay.
has just gotten destroyed, like, another realm of what this world could
Mhm.
be in, like, a magical sense. I don't know, it's just so good. And, I've I have them all on Kindle, but I had to buy the physical books because I have so much respect for publication. So I
Mhm.
always get the physical books for books that I like really love, even if I've never actually opened them, just to have them. So my bookshelf is full of books that I've physically read and then books that I've read on Kindle, but I just have them. So they're here.
Yeah, no, I get that. I went to school for creative writing, and I've been an avid reader most of my life, and I have bookshelves full of books that I really don't read anymore because, yeah, the Kobo has replaced them because it's just much easier to hold, but yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. How do you see video games continuing to impact your life in the future?
I can only hope that I can continue to do this, streaming and content creation and make it my
Mhm.
my full-time, life. That would be, like, my absolute dream. I don't wanna be, like, a Doctor Disrespect famous person or anything of that nature. My husband loves Doctor Disrespect, that's the only reason why I know, or, like, Ninja or something like that. That's not what I'm wanting, but I would love to be able to, like, just live my life and do this full time, you know? I don't wanna
Mhm.
be, like, a big famous person. I just wanna be able to do this and spend my time doing this because being able to hang out, like I said, hang out with the community and like be able to be a part of other people's lives and their journey with games and um help with that growth is actually like big for me since I am a newer gamer.
Mhm.
Um and I feel like my I won't always be a newer gamer, right? Eventually I'll be just as seasoned as everybody else.
There you go. You gotta put in the time.
Doing my best.
No,
Making
but
it up.
that is so true, and it's something I've talked about quite a bit is the difference between a following and a community. Like, I would rather have a small community of people who are all friends, dedicated to each other, who are my cheer up squad, who keep me pushing to do better and to grow and to succeed, than a million followers who just show up and jeer at me if I'm not as entertaining that
Absolutely.
night as I should be. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there have been so many times. So, like, if you think about it, so like people that are like at that level, right? Good for them. Like, all power to them because
Mhm.
I don't think I could stream to a room of like 30,000 people and like be calm. I think I would be like nauseated and like panicking and like, bye. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Last night, I was actually watching Ninja, ironically enough, and he had like 19,000 people in his room. And I was like, my first
Whoa.
thought was like, I would get sick.
Mhm.
I would get sick if I saw 19,000 people in my room. Like, that's terrifying. But, like, you have that and you can't keep up with those conversations, right? Like, you can't talk to all
Yeah.
those people. The
Mhm.
chat is going a mile a minute, even if it's on slow mode, and when you have just, like, 20 to 40 people hanging out with you, yeah, there's still a lot of movement, but you're able to, like, talk to them and, like, have a conversation, and "How are you doing?" and "What's going on with your day?" and that kinda
Yeah.
stuff, and that kind of connection means a lot more to me than just people, like, throwing subs out at me, you know what I mean? I
Mhm.
just like, "That's great, thank you." It's genuinely appreciated, but I'd prefer you to be there and hang out with me and, like, chat than, like, throw 50 subs and run.
Yeah.
So,
No, 100%, 100%. How do you think video games have impacted the entertainment industry as a whole?
I feel like it's all there is anymore.
Mm.
Um, I there's movies and shows that come out, right? But I don't hear about them anymore. Other than, like, the Marvel things that are coming out. It's not it's not a talked about thing anymore. I feel like most of the time when people are excited for anything or doing anything, it is video game related. I mean, Final Fantasy as a whole, they are, as one of my community members would say, they're all movies.
Mhm.
They are movies that you're playing through, you know what I mean? Um So, a lot of games, whether the cutscenes are long or short, like, they are their own story, and I feel like most of the entertainment industry has turned into just basically video games, because even, like, work related wise, like, if we're thinking of, like, jobs, people that would, like, make movies or something like that are now working in video games because we want more of them. Want more of them, want longer ones, better ones,
Mhm.
like, we it's that's just, like it's the growing aspect of the world right now, and plus, it is so good for, like, learning too, and I know that's, like, a rando thing to think about, but, um, video games aren't just about entertainment, so it's a cool aspect, but yeah, I genuinely think that, entertainment for the most part is just video games nowadays.
Yeah, and I mean, there are parallels to novels, like a video game tells a story in 40 to 60 hours as compared to a movie's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Same with a novel, like, you're getting an investment into this world, an investment into these characters that you're going to spend, dozens of hours with as opposed to just a couple.
Oh, yeah, I have, like,
And
86, 87, something like that hours in Final Fantasy 16, and,
Mhm.
the DLCs aren't even out yet. Think of how much time that is.
Yeah. I've been playing 14 for 9 years,
I
and you
yeah.
can do /playtime, and it will tell you how many days you've been playing 14 for.
Shut up.
So, check it out sometime.
I'm going to check tonight.
See how many hours you've logged in that
I
one.
will, and I will message you and tell you.
Have you ever played a video game that inspired you to pursue a certain career or field of study? Or just
Um,
a hobby?
yes and no. Um, I originally was in college to work in publishing. Um,
Oh.
a lot of things changed in 2020, obviously, so I didn't finish college, for that degree, but playing video games definitely inspired me to play more video games, ironically. It inspired me to kinda dive a little bit deeper in, so I do look at the lore of a lot of things, whereas I wouldn't have before. And I am now, like I said, big on collecting things. I'm currently looking for, Cloud's Buster Sword, but like a legit one. Like, this was a 3D print of Clive's sword. And
Mhm.
every time I look for clouds, it's foam, and
Right.
I don't want foam. I want s I wanna
You want a huge chunk of plastic.
Yes, I do, or metal or aluminum, but, so yeah, when it comes to that kinda stuff, I've definitely, like, looked into, like, the lore of things and also, like, studying just stuff on the background, and not like I'm, like, super in depth or, like, super smart with that stuff, but
Mhm.
I definitely, find a lot of interest in that, and I listen to a lot of podcasts on, um, like, mythology, so kind of, like, seeing, like, parallels for different games and, like, different mythologies I find very intriguing, so, just a little background study stuff, but nothing crazy out there that I've dove into yet.
Awesome. No, that's a fantastic answer. Video games inspired you to pursue video games. How do you think video games can be used as a tool for education or personal development?
That's funny because we were just talking about that.
We were, yeah.
Uh, for personal development, definitely socialization,
Mm.
with MMOs, you know what I mean? It's hard, it's hard to communicate with people. I might come off as, like, super outgoing and bubbly and do and you know what I mean? But I am always very anxious and nervous and, shy and timid, when I am out in public. I am not, bubbly and outgoing and jumpy all the time. Most of the time, I'm looking at the ground, "Don't look at me, don't talk to me, I'm scared." That is very much so how I am. So the more games that I play, the more comfortable I feel talking to people. Being able to, like, dive into, somebody else's, like, persona, to get comfortable, I feel like is very good. It also hand-eye coordination, like motor
Mhm.
skills and stuff like that. I mean, thinking, not even like just like young age, like getting your motor skills because you have to write and draw and, practice your letters, to like gain those motor skills and like perfect
Mhm.
them, right? But even like thinking of like a car accident victim. Oh my gosh, I know it sounds horrible, but, like, thinking about stuff
Yeah.
like that, right? Like, you crush your hand or, like, a sports accident or something like that, like, you crush your hand, you hurt your hand, you hurt your arm, you know what I mean? Like, think of the Wii and the different controllers that they have. They have, like, different mobility controllers now too
Mhm.
that you can create, and that stuff kind of, like, helping reshape your muscles so that way you can use your hands again and you can use your arms again and stuff of that nature. And that's not something I feel like that's thought about or talked about. But I think, like, medically speaking, and I'm not a doctor, just an opinion,
Not medical advice.
not medical advice, but like thinking of stuff like that, you have to go through some kind of therapy to deal with that stuff. And I feel like video games that would help a lot with, along with like hand-eye coordination and, like I said, motor skills, and thinking differently. So playing Legacy, there are multiple different kinds of puzzles in Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not sure if you played that yet.
No, I haven't.
You must. It is so good. It is so good. I played it through 3 times, about to do my 4th.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's really good. Um, but thinking through the different puzzles, or like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, different puzzles that way, you have to
Mhm.
think different different ways, whether it's like moving things or finding a shape through the trees or something of that nature.
Mhm.
It definitely it helps widen your spectrum of thinking, um, with like creative wise. So I think that that's really cool too. And again, not thought about.
Yeah, no, for sure. Have you ever played a video game that helped you cope with a difficult time in your life? If so, can you
um,
share that experience?
I let me think. The first video game I ever finished, first video game I ever finished was actually fairly recent. It was God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I was going through a lot of emotional things when that game first came out. So my husband and I were trying to have a kid for a few years. And I had seen a doctor who said, I can't,
Right.
basically, is what she had said in a not nice way. She was not a great doctor. Um, and she was wrong, by the way. She was wrong. She was just not a good doctor. But I didn't know that at the time. So I
Mhm.
spent a lot of my time just trying to distract my brain and get through things, because I didn't know how to process, right? Like how do you process stuff like that?
Yeah.
You don't know. So I spent a lot of hours playing that game, and the story in itself obviously had nothing to do with what I was dealing with, but just like my newfound comfort, because again, that was the first game I finished ever in my entire life. I played plenty of games, but I've never actually finished a game before. And my goal for myself was to finish that before Hogwarts Legacy came out. And I had started Ragnarok when it released. So it took me that long to finish the game just to keep that retrospect. That was like almost, like 6, 7 months. It was a long time. Um, it took me that long to finish it, and, but my goal was to finish it before Legacy came out, and I finished it the night before Legacy's early release.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes, I was forcing myself to finish the game. It was happening. But, yeah, when the game came out, I was going through all of that, and I didn't know how to process, so it gave me, like, a mental break from life, um,
Mhm.
and I think that's where, like, my love for games started to, like, come to life for the first time, was just, like, having my, like, safe space, if you will, to release from the stresses of life.
Yeah, for sure. And it's something that we all kind of share. I think a lot of people who play video games have had those experiences. So, yeah. How do you think video games can be used to bring people together and build communities? I
I
mean, again,
think
we've
that
touched on this a little bit, but yeah.
we're a perfect example, aren't we? Um, I mean, again, I can't stop saying 14 or 16 because that's literally
Mhm.
where my life lies at this point. But you meet people online, right? You make friends with them that way. And then you grow, and even like thinking straight off of 14 alone, you build your free company, right? You
Yeah.
build your friendships in your free company. And so that kind of grows into like your own community in the game, but then like streaming, right? So we stream, we hang out on in our own little server, right? In our little box online, and people come and find us and choose to hang
Mhm.
out with us. And then those grow to like a large community of friends, and we get to play different games together. I mean, I the connections that we make through the games is really what brings us all together and creates a community. Um And I don't know, I love that. I love that we have the ability to do that now. Like, the way things are now, we're able to just click on a link online and find someone that we can connect to, and make friends with, that we have the connection through the games, through the story, or whether it's just meeting them through the game. Uh, that's really awesome.
So powerful. I mean, I can't help but think like maybe if such a thing existed back when I was a kid, like I existed prior to the internet as well. So, but to have access to people who enjoyed the same things, who liked the same things, who you could talk to without feeling, ashamed or embarrassed or anything like that is huge. Huge.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. have you ever played a video game that challenged your beliefs or changed your worldview?
I started to and I stopped.
Oh, wow.
I'm a Christian,
Mhm.
and my friend wanted me to play Diablo. And my sister had played Diablo, and she's a devout Christian. She is very much walk that straight line. And she had played Diablo, and I was like, "It can't be that bad, right? Like, if she's my sister's comfortable playing it, I can play it." So when the new one came out, it was gifted to me, the whole premium edition and the whole 9.
Mhm.
Um, and for the server slam, me and 2 other streamers, we all teamed up and we all went to do it together. Um, there was a cutscene in it that was too much for me to be comfortable with. It was I don't know if you played Diablo, the new one.
I played 2. I haven't played 4 at all. No.
Okay. So there's just a cutscene at the beginning, towards the beginning. Basically, Lilith is telling you, like telling the whole congregation in a church, like, give in to your desires, and they beat the priest to death very violently. Um, and after we got off stream that day, I really thought about it, right? Like, continuing the game because the views were good, right? And, like,
Mhm.
I Blizzard asked me to be, like, one of their streamers to where, like, you can get, like, the mount if you watched me.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I got the approval email and everything, and, I was really fighting on, like, well, I mean, I'm gonna get the viewers, right? I was very new streaming when that came out. I was only a couple months in. Um so I was like, "Well, I'll get the views, maybe, like, my community will grow, and then I can kind of lean more into other things I would like, and then, it'll be okay," and I really sat on it for a while because the game wasn't released yet, right? I had, like, a couple
Mhm.
weeks, but I ended up getting that friend refunded back the game, and I apologized to her, and I thanked her 1,001 times, but it was one of those things where it was like, I can deal with gore. I love Mortal Kombat.
Right.
I cosplay Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat. But it wasn't something that made me feel that uncomfortable. So I started to play it, but then I couldn't do it. I figured my I support my friends in whatever they wanna do. I'm never the kind of
Mhm.
person that's like, "Don't play this, don't do that." Like, "You do you, boo boo. I love you. I love you for you, you do you." But
Mhm.
I wasn't comfortable sitting and putting hours into something that made me that uncomfy. So, yeah, I did, and then I didn't.
No, that is huge. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's very tempting, especially for new creators, to subject themselves to the peer pressure and follow the money and do the things that you think are going to help right now.
Absolutely.
But staying true to yourself and holding that line and making it easier on you in the long run because you don't have to change who you are or have those like moments of conflict within yourself is so important.
Yeah, I mean, I still deal with some of that today where, I want to primarily lean into all Final Fantasy because that's where I found so much comfort and joy and love.
Mhm.
And then, I also, like, I wanna keep my community happy. So I do both. I do both because 'cause I'm not bending myself with that, you know what I mean? Whereas if I would have continued that, it would have just felt, um, not right. And then at the end of the day, like, you think about it, like, maybe I would have become, a big thing from doing Diablo, probably not. But, like, maybe if I would have sucked it up and just done it anyway, I would have. But then the people that were in my community wouldn't have been in my community wanting to be in my community. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I would have brought them in and they would have thought, I don't know, it would have been something else. So, I did them and myself a favor.
There you go. I love to hear it, honestly. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you think video games can be used to promote empathy and understanding of different perspectives?
Um, yes. So this is funny. I'm a Slytherin, uh, big Harry Potter fan, like I said. I do have a dark mark tattoo also. I get tattoos of all video games
Awesome.
and movies that I like. Um, but funny story, with Hogwarts Legacy, you definitely get to play with that. I don't wanna give you spoilers, I want you to see it, but
Yeah.
what has been public, is Sebastian Stallo's, story, and that's how you kind of like get to dabble in the dark arts in Hogwarts Legacy, which I love. Literally, the background of my computer screen is the dark arts version of Hogwarts Legacy. So you get to see both sides as to like why he did what he did, right? So you can feel the empathy. Like, you definitely shouldn't have done that, but I can understand why you did. And that kind of stuff I think is pretty cool because you're seeing through the other side. I can't remember what the other game is, but there's another game. I'm completely drawing a blank. But there was another game where like you hated a character and then like at some point it like, oh, okay, I love him now. Why is my brain going totally blank right now? I don't remember.
That's okay. But I think Final Fantasy XIV does that incredibly well too. And I don't know if you know it, you've seen any examples this early in the game, but certainly as it goes forward, you're going to have more of those examples where they're good at finding like rivalries, people you love to hate.
I'm excited.
It's amazing.
I'm excited.
Have you ever played a video game that you felt had a particularly impactful story or message?
Everything, all of
Yeah.
them. um
Is there
I
anything different you wanted to call out this time?
gosh. I mean all I can do is lean into 16.
Yeah.
I can just lean into 16. Because it's not like just like the main like story, right, of like what you're fighting for, but it's like you are choosing which way you want to go, how you want to go about it. I mean, like even if like we're not looking at Clive, right? Even if we're looking on at the other characters on the background, the outside characters that aren't even like main characters and how they're moving through the storyline. I feel like you can see like the different growth patterns of how people handle different situations. And that really resonates with me, and the fact of like there's so much going on and you might not be in the middle of it, but it still impacts you, and how you handle it is important. um and I pay very close attention to the outside characters, the NPCs, and I know it's like not a common thing that people do, but like I pay very close attention because like as you're moving through the story you see that what their changes are as things happen, and their growth. And like like thinking about like the companies that make these games, like they put that thought into it. So the story and the impact of like seeing how like one person's decision changes everybody else's, I feel like it's really important. And it might not be like forefront, but it's there. And I feel like it actually hits people and they don't realize it.
Because isn't it something we tend not to think about on a day-to-day basis? Like, you're the main character of your own story, and you tend to not really think about the NPCs you see at work or at the grocery store and
Right.
how they might be impacted by meeting you and that sort of thing.
Right.
Have you ever played a video game that you felt had a positive impact on your mental health or well-being?
So I had played this game. I never finished it, which I need to because the second one's coming out next year at some point. It was called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and a beautiful game, by the way, especially for a PS4 game. Just incredible. If you haven't played it, you must. Um, she deals with psychosis.
Oh, wow.
I from what I had read on it, they had like a bunch of doctors actually like help creating this game, so it is like a clear impact on psychosis. And I was just at that point in my life when I played that game, um, started to develop anxiety for the first time in my life. Um, it's been years ago now, but I had just started dealing with anxiety. And funny enough, the game that I decided to play when developing anxiety is a game of a girl that has psychosis. And um, basically, you're supposed to wear headphones because you hear
Mhm.
multiple voices in her head. And they're confusing you and sending you in the right direction and the wrong direction at the same time. So I was dealing with learning how to deal with anxiety, and I decided to play that game. Funny enough, it actually helped me deal with anxiety.
Really?
Yes. I think I mean, I still suffer with anxiety now. Maybe I should play that game
Mhm.
again actually because it gave it a good pause. But, it's weird. I'm a backwards person, so, like, hearing somebody else, like, playing a character that's dealing with so many different things actually calmed me down.
Well,
It
it's like how we watch Hoarders to feel better about our own homes, or how we watch My
love
600-Pound Life to feel good about our bodies. Yeah, yeah, that sort of
that. But yeah. Essentially, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, as funny as that sound, it actually helped a lot with my anxiety. Like I said, I suffer with it pretty badly, now, but, yeah, I, like, just for the first time in my life started to develop it, and that game, it helped. It was just like, from what I can recall, because like I said, I never finished the game. It was well before God of War. But a whole bunch of stuff happened and her home area, and I think like her fiance or husband or boyfriend, whatever he was, died, and she was dealing with internal turmoil. And at the time, the guy was left for the military, and I was dealing with anxiety, so I had like all sorts of parallels,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
and it helped me deal with my anxiety.
Awesome. I do have a YouTube video about anxiety in Final Fantasy XIV, especially like an MMO. Like the Duty Finder was a source of major anxiety for me for the first few years I played. How do you cope with that if you're going into new content or using the Duty Finder?
Um, so I'm very grateful that I have a lot of people that I am friends with
Mm,
online for Final Fantasy. So I always try to grab at least one person to come with me. That's my main goal, to try to take one person with me. If it is one that I can take I can take the NPCs, I normally do.
right.
I normally do. If I can't take the NPCs, the first thing I do when the cutscenes are going, I always type first run, sorry, doing cutscenes. Like I always put it out there. And as a tank, it's very stressful because I'm supposed to know where to go and what to do, and I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, I always try to take someone with me if I can. If I can't, it's I try to take the NPCs. There's only been a handful of times that I've had to go in completely alone, and I haven't really had any rough times those times, at least, which has been very beneficial. But
Yeah. No, for
I can
sure.
totally I can totally get that, because sometimes I do get anxious, especially being the tank and like leading the squad and not knowing where to go. The raids, I hate the raids. Hate raids.
The Alliance or the 8-man or both?
All of them. All of
All
them.
of them.
Hate all of them. Hate all the raids. There's too much going on. Don't know where to go. I'm always lost, and I can't tell you how many times in the chat someone said, "Come get your tank." I love the goodies, don't like the actual thing.
Right. No, and that's like so many people have that problem. So many people have the problem. For years, I played 14 like very casually and avoided all that content because I just wanted to have nothing to do with it. So,
It's rough. It's definitely rough. Yeah, so there's a few ironically enough, there's a few people that I met last night when I was on stream. Um and they play Final Fantasy 14. They're actually going to make new characters and join the free company and like join up with us.
mhm.
But I also have a couple of their friends that are, when they get home, because they're on vacation right now, they're going to start playing. And so we've all these new people that are coming in, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, all of us that have experience need to like go do the low level stuff with them, because it's terrifying starting out and not having anybody with you and like trying to figure it all out by yourself. So I mean, that's my main goal, is to always help people that are, like, just a little bit behind me, because
Yeah.
I get stressed out when I'm going through things by myself.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, that's all of the questions I have. Was there anything that we kind of hinted on that you sparked you wanted to talk about, or anything that you had wanted to mention while you were being interviewed?
Just go play Final Fantasy 14. Just go
That's
play it. It's free to play until level 70. Go play.
In fact, we could be playing right now.
I know. I was actually on right before this.
Awesome. So I'm going to throw your links up on the screen here. So where can people come and find you if they wanted to see more of your content?
I post on Twitter constantly because I'm always sending updates. I am on Twitch on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And if you are playing Final Fantasy XIV, I am in Anima in Toys. I can never say it. So you can come hang out with us. Um, and I do post on YouTube a little bit here and there. I'm working on it. Most of it is tips and tricks for Final Fantasy XIV, so I can help you get started. And it is all just what the Christie.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. It has been an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you. You're just such a positive creator, and I can't wait to see what the next few years are going to do for you.
Thank you. I'm so
Um,
excited that you had me. Thank you.
I wish you absolutely all the best. We are going to say goodbye to YouTube. So have a fantastic day, gamers, and we'll see you in game. Bye.
Bye.